I'm Melissa Rohlin with Fox Sports, and I'm here with a guy who needs no introduction. He's a two-time NBA champion, a six-time All-Star, and a guy who I was honored and privileged to get to cover on both the Lakers and the San Antonio Spurs, Mr. Pau Gasol. Now, Pau, let's get right into it. You've had such an illustrious career. If you had to pick one moment that was the highlight, what would that moment be?
As you said, it's been such a long career, and I had so many moments that I'm so proud of, and every moment led me to the next one. It's so hard to highlight a moment. I guess a moment that shifted my career was to trade to the Lakers, and because that opened up a whole different dimension, the opportunity to play and be a part of such an incredible franchise and city, and to play with the guys that I played with, obviously highlighting Kobe as not just one of the greatest players of all time, and but also a person that has transcended that the line of a teammate, and I've developed such a close relationship outside the court, which is not easy to do. So I guess that moment, if I had to highlight one, I would highlight that, because also obviously led to championships and a chapter in my life that has provided me with so many things in my life.
You and Kobe had so much love and respect for each other. What would you say is the greatest thing that you learned from Kobe, and what do you think is the biggest thing that he learned from you?
Okay. So much that I've learned from him. Not only on the court. I learned firsthand what it took and what it meant to be the best. The effort, the commitment, the work ethic that he had was unparalleled. He inspired so many players, not just on his team, but beyond his team, inspired probably multiple generations of players that we see today. But also how driven he was outside the court. He wanted to be successful in every category, but in something that has touched me is like, and that we've talked about it. He was a great girl dad. A great dad to his daughters, a great family guy, and that's something that I want to be a great dad to my daughter. So yeah, just a lot of stuff that is very inspiring. What did I teach him? I don't know if I taught him much. A person told me that a close person from him, and told me that I taught him empathy. Which is something that I guess I'm at some level honored and proud of, that I was able to share that with him, and that he learned that. So I think that's important.
Pau, Kobe said over and over again that without you, he would not have won those two championships. And all of your teammates have all talked about just how impactful your play is. I think a lot of people were surprised that you weren't on the NBA's 75 list. Do you think you should have been on that list?
I don't really care too much about lists that I think to a certain degree are very subjective. I'm really happy about how I played through my NBA career, the impact that I've had on my teams and my teammates, and that's what I care about. Lists at the end of the day are to kind of create maybe a little controversy or a little talk here and there, and that's okay. That's part of the sport, and that's how it should be. So I'm not offended by any means, or if I would have been in the list, I wouldn't think that I'm better than some of the many other great players that are not on that list. So again, you just do your best. You enjoy the journey. The title of the docuseries that it's about the journey, and go from there. The recognition will come, maybe will not. That's not important.
Speaking of the docuseries, it kind of takes us through a lot of the emotions around you suffering the foot fracture and your rehab process and battling to participate in the Olympics, and then emotions that went into you deciding to retire. Why was it so important to you to play in the Olympics? And you know, somebody, I've been around you, you love the game, you love basketball. How difficult was it for you to decide to retire?
When we started, the docuseries started with the idea of capturing not the rehab process, but how I've approached it, and we approached it as a family, and the hardship of it, and the challenge of the uncertainty of also closing a chapter. You know, I could have decided, hey, 2 foot fractures on your navicular at 38 or something when it happened, 38, 39. It's time to hang it up. You had a great run, you know, it's time to celebrate, and don't put yourself through more struggle. But I didn't do that. You know, I decided to give myself a chance to fight for the opportunity to finish in my own terms, to finish my career on the court, to finish my career playing my 5th Olympics. That was something worth fighting for. And we made that commitment as a family, because if my family, my wife, wouldn't said, yeah, no, I'm not willing to do this, then I'm not going to be able to do it. But she also wanted that, and that was very important. And then I had teams of people that helped me through that, professionals that I had to create during the pandemic, which was another curveball thrown at us, and that provided more uncertainty. So the docuseries just tries to capture how more of a human side for me and my family, the emotional side that people haven't seen, and also how I prepared and how I approach all these different circumstances in a way that I've accomplished certain things, and that those same principles I've carried throughout my career. So hopefully people will enjoy, first of all, and then take something away that they can apply in their own lives, which is something that I also try to do. I try to inspire, I try to influence people in a good way. I try to motivate people to be their best version of themselves. That's whatever you want to pursue. That was some of the big motivators and goals in the documentary.
How you mentioned that if Kobe were to pick one thing that he may have learned from you, or that stood out to him, it may have been empathy. I'm curious, how do you want to be remembered as an NBA player? Like, what do you want people to take away from your incredible career the most?
Well, that I enjoyed it, that I made the best out of it, that despite of my success or performance on the court, I was always true to myself. I was always respectful, in that I try to utilize my success and I guess exposure, recognition, into translate it into something more impactful beyond the sport, to be able to help others, to be able to support causes. Again, like the fighting the childhood obesity pandemic, creating our foundation and joining efforts with UNICEF and other organizations, being a Goodwill ambassador for UNICEF for over 18 years, to being spokesperson for many children's hospitals. Every city that I went and I played for, I associated myself with a children's hospital. So all those things are to me very important. It wasn't just about championships or points or all-stars, or it's what do you do with that? If you don't do anything, or you just fall in love with that alone, once that is over, what do you have? Who are you? And I think to me, it's about being true to yourself, knowing who you are as a person, and utilizing the opportunities that you have at hand in order to have a bigger impact and actually leave a true legacy beyond your profession, and impact everyone that comes through your life in a positive way. That's what I like to be remembered by.
That's a great point because a lot of times when athletes retire, they experience a loss of identity. And you're a guy, you have a rich family, you've always had so many interests off the court.
Right. Right.
What's next for Pau Gasol?
Well, I'm already into different things. Can't help myself. I was proud and thankful to be elected by the Olympians, the Olympic athletes in Tokyo, as part of the Athletes Commission in the IOC. So now I'm an IOC member, and so I want to be a part of the growth and involvement and development of the Olympic movement. And I've had already so many meetings and calls. I'm going to Switzerland this next week. I'm going to put more time and effort into the work that we do with our foundation in the US and in Spain, and continue to grow our programs and our impact, providing children, more a healthier environment, so they can grow and develop healthier and become healthy adults and fulfill whatever they want to fulfill. So I want to do that. I'm already invested and partnered with companies like Aura Ring, like Therabody, like Overtime, like Better Up, and others that I will continue to announce. Companies that I believe in, companies that I'm associated with, not just financially, but also as an ambassador, as a spokesperson. And I want to continue to do that more. At some point, I will explore a relationship with an NBA team or a WNBA team. So one of my points of emphasis will be,
A coach?
No, not as a coach. No, not as a coach. As an executive, as a consultant, as an advisor, as an investor. Something that will provide me with, again, the flexibility to fulfill all the other things that I mentioned, and last but not least, to be present for my family, to be a good husband and to be a good father. So which takes a significant amount of time as well, and it should take a significant amount of time. So with all that, that's what I love to continue to grow and be a part of.